Welcome back, beer tubers. Today we're taking a look at a beer I picked up at the source. This is Floyds Pride and Joy. Very cool. I got to go out on the way to Michigan, stop by Floyds in Munster, Indiana, to pick up this beer in a 6-pack form. Thanks to my buddy Daniel, who and his wife for picking me up, taking me to the brew pub. It was awesome. Great food, great beer. I was not familiar with Pride and Joy, but they're calling it their take on a mild ale, and not an English style mild ale, American mild ale at 5%. So is it an American pale ale, mild ale? We'll find out. Pours out a nice copper color with maybe a slightly yellow tinged head. Good carbonation coming up. Let's get the aroma. It's a mix of citrusy floral hops. A lot of sweet bread though underneath with a little bit of caramel. So it smells fairly balanced on the nose, but really intense biscuity breadiness, doughiness, floral, a little bit of grapefruit, sweeter orange notes on there, so it smells great. Let's dig in. Cheers. Yeah, very nice. It's definitely different than an American pale ale in some respects, that I'm used to at least. I mean, in terms of like being like compared to Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. Definitely has more of that Englishy malt characteristic. That really intense, bready, biscuity character, and maybe they're using an Maris Otter, I don't know. If they're using like say an all English malt bill with American hops, which I could kind of see with that beer because it's got a different kind of base malt characteristic to it. It's got a really nice sort of toffee caramel character to it that I don't really associate oftentimes with American crystal malt. But you're definitely getting the presence of the American hops. So up front you get a nice kind of zesty bitterness, like a firm but not overwhelming bitterness. Then it goes right into those floral, sweeter citrus notes I got on the nose. And then the whole back half is a big malt undertone to it, just big malt backbone to the beer. Like I said, sweeter bread, kind of doughy biscuity notes, nice caramel toffee note, and a nice dry finish. There's a little bit of a fruitiness to the beer that I'm guessing is a yeast characteristic, or it could be malt as well, or even hop. But it kind of runs that orange marmalade-y, apricot-y sort of note in there too, and adds some nice complexity to the beer. So overall, it's a very nicely balanced beer. For 5%, although, you know, the Brits would laugh at that being a mild, but we tend to do everything like at least a 1% higher than they typically do, whereas I guess, you know, a mild at 4% is a little more reasonable. Definitely a very sessionable beer, very easy drinking beer, great balance to it, great flavors. So yeah, a B+ type of beer for me. This is a really solid beer from Floyds. They do a lot of stuff great, and it's kind of a sort of, you know, whatever you want to call it, American mild, American pale ale, whatever, kind of fits both. Definitely can kind of see the Englishy type of background to it. So yeah, I'm glad I was able to pick up some bottles at the brewery and take a couple home with me from my trip. It's going to wrap this one up. Until next time, please comment and subscribe. Cheers.